Hello YouTube. In this tutorial we learn how to use GSAP library to design a very cool and unique hover effect. The other animation we learn. We'll use the scroll trigger library and we animate the scale of the images based on the scroll percentage. Sit tight and watch the video. This effect will trigger a repetition effect when move the mouse over the images. Images get scaled down on hover, and when the mouse is out of view, the images get scaled up again. The tutorial consists of two parts. In the first part we learn how to use GSAP library staggers and event listeners to recreate the hover effect. But for the second part, which is only available on my Patreon, we learn how to recreate the second effect. Images get scaled up when they are in the middle of the scroll area. For people who learn GSAP, we can create two different kinds of animations with this library. Either we play an animation when the scroll bar meets our desired position, or an animation relies on 0% to 100% of the scroll bar. Let's see the overall structure and recreate the required part inside Webflow. We have a navigation bar which has a fixed position and stays at the top of the screen. Section 1 will contain the required content for the hover animation. We also have the section 2 which contains a big header and the content we need to recreate the scroll-based animation. Again, we just focus on the first part for YouTube, and on the Patreon we learn the second animation. To make this tutorial shorter, we copy and paste the navigation bar in a new page, but we recreate the rest. We add a div block. For this div block we must set the width and height to 100 respectively. VW and VH will make the div block cover the width and height of the window. Let's check the structure again. We have two columns. We need to recreate them too. The width of them is 50% and the height is 100%. We duplicate the column we created. As you can see, the alignment is not correct. We choose the section 1 wrapper and set the display to flex mode. Horizontal is our desired value for flex direction. For the image wrapper, we add a div block and put it in as of the column. We choose a random size for the image div block as it's not our goal to find a right value for it. But as a tip, it's better use VW values, and also add an attribute to the CSS section. This attribute is aspect ratio, which sets the height accordingly. To see what we have here, let's add a background color to the image wrapper. Also, we need to set the border radius here. Now we want to add a background image to each image wrapper. To do so, we need to add a combo class to each image wrapper. We add the image left class name to the left image wrapper. We do something similar for the right one. We use a different image as the background of the left image wrapper. Also, a different image for the right image wrapper. We are not going to animate the right image wrapper as you can use the same trick for it, but for demonstrating purposes we add an image to it. Let's check the animation again, then I teach you the trick you need, and we continue on Webflow. We have 3 images which get scaled down to 0 as we hover over the images. Also, an image gets scaled down a little. When the mouse is not over the images will get scaled up to 1 again. We need this structure to recreate the effect 3 images at the top of each other. There is also 1 image which gets scaled down a bit on hover. We need to have 3 image wrappers. We duplicate the left image wrapper twice. Image wrapper position is absolute. We need set the position of the left column to relative. So, the image wrapper considers the left column as its parent. By setting the position of the image wrappers to absolute, they can stay at the top of each other as a stack. For that we set the Z index to 8. Now we have 3 image wrappers that we set their scale to 0 on hover. We also need to add another image wrapper which on hover gets scaled down a bit. We can duplicate one of the left image wrappers, but here I add a div block which uses the class name of the left image wrappers. This new element will contain an image. Just remember, for this div block we are not using a background image but we put an image as its child, and resize the image element on hover. We also change its combo class to fixed image. The reason is we want to change its Z index. By doing this, we tell our browser the new image wrapper sits beneath the other image wrappers. Again, this image wrapper will get scaled down from 1.3 to 1, but the rest will get scaled down from 1 to 0. Time to put an image inside the image wrapper. The new image will use 100% as its width and height. By using these numbers, we tell our browser the new image wrapper fits the parent div block. Also, we select the image wrapper again and set its overflow to hidden. If you are new to overflow, overflow is like masking in Figma or Sketch. We try to mask our image with the div block. I made a cut here. The all image wrappers are using 8 as their Z index, but the new image wrapper which masks an image element will use 7 as its Z index. We want to tell our browser this new image wrapper sits beneath the other image wrappers. If you check the image I have added in between, you can understand this easier. Time to set the z-index of our mask element to 7. Then we add the custom code and use GSAP library. Let's have a look at our custom code. First we need to add 2 libraries, GSAP and also jQuery library as usual. I have added skull trigger library too, but we don't need this for the hover animation. We will learn all lines one by one. When we are using GSAP library, we have a GSAP set line. This line will set the initial state of our element. Here we need to tell our browser to set the initial scale of the left image wrappers to 1. Also, we need to change the class name to a class name we use for the left image wrappers. We have another GSAP set line. This will set the initial scale of our image which is inside our mask div block to 1.3. We need to copy and paste the class name of our image inside the second line. Here we define a variable, hover. This variable will be used to make the hover effect possible. We also need to update the class name inside the third line. Since the left image wrappers are closer to the cursor, when we move our mouse over the left image, we want to tell our browser to trigger the animation. If the mouse is over left image wrappers, pay attention. We are not using the class name of the mask div block or its child element which is an image. The fourth line says for each element with the same class name as the left image wrapper, trigger the hover effect. This line will define the things must happen when you move the mouse over the left image. For now, let's forget the fifth line. Try to ignore we have a set timeout line. Inside the set timeout line, we have 2 GSAP to functions. The first one will be used for the left image wrappers. Again, these are the divs with 8 as their z-index. The first GSAP2 will scale down the left image wrappers from 1 to 0. The second GSAP2 will be used to scale down the image inside the mask from 1.3 to 1. Each GSAP to function has one attribute which is in common. Duration will set the duration of our animation. We set that to 1. It means the left image wrappers will get scaled down from 1 to 0 in 1 second, or the image inside the mask will get scaled down from 1.3 to 1 in 1 second. Also, we have set timeout command. What it does, run the GSAP 2 animations with a delay. The reason is the user can move the cursor over the image and move it out constantly. By using the set timeout command, we want to add a delay. So, if you check the last line of our mouse enter effect, we have another even listener for the state when the mouse is not over the left image. We want to revert the scale of the image wrappers to 1. Also, set the scale of our image inside the mask to 1.3 again. The last thing you need to know about this animation is stagger. Stagger will add delay in between all elements with the same class name. If you check the intro of this tutorial, you can see there is a delay in between the 3 image wrappers. Stagger will do the same thing. Stagger will make it easier. Instead of adding a different GSAP to function for each left image wrapper, we use stagger to add delay in between them. So one will start at 0 second, the second one will get started at 150 milliseconds, and the third one will get started at 300 milliseconds. Let's publish our code and see the result of our works in action. Then we get back to the staggers again. As you can see, on hover just one image wrapper gets scaled down from 1 to 0, but on mouse leave, 3 image wrappers get scaled up in order with a delay. It's all because of the stagger. Since the order of the staggers is not correct, the 1/3 one will get scaled down first, then the second one, and finally the one you see will get scaled down from 1 to 0. With this advanced stagger for the mouse hover state, we still can define the delay in between each animation. Also, set the order of how the animations get started. Let me explain something again. We have 3 image wrappers for the left image. Before we use this advanced stagger, the third and last one was getting scaled down first, then the second one, and finally the first one. For that reason, you thought only one image wrapper gets scaled down from 1 to 0, but we told our GSAP to function to reverse the order of animation. As you can see the hover animation done. Let's learn the second animation on my Patreon together.